Now, Mike Lee came on here and said free trade is the key to our prosperity. Your reference there to fair trade, you may not agree with that. What's your view on trade, please, ma'am?
I would have to vehemently disagree with the other challenger here, because I have had so much experience over the years dealing with the results of what has happened to our nation. We've lost our manufacturing base, and throughout history there is no precedent where a country can maintain its self-reliance and sovereignty and stability in the world without having a strong manufacturing base. In fact, I was talking to a farmer who just yesterday was telling me about what happened to his apple farm when China was allowed to start dumping on our market. And within 1 year, they were out of business. I think this is absolutely devastating to our nation. We have to have fair trade policies. We cannot be giving China a free ride to dump on our nation, and now the country that owns 9% of our debt, which I think is a great threat to our national security and sovereignty on the world stage.
Now, some folks say on this free trade thing, if you're not for free trade, you're not a real conservative. What do you say to them, please, ma'am?
Well, I think there are different kinds of conservatives. I think there are true conservatives, and I think that there are those who like to play both sides of that game, and I disagree vociferously that people who are conservative can also be in favor of free trade. Ronald Reagan, the consummate conservative, used common sense in protecting some American businesses, especially with the motorcycle industry. And I respect him for that. He did the right thing. Our founders also were very much in favor of policies that would be favorable to a nation. In fact, Thomas Jefferson did say at one time that he believed that merchants put commerce before country, and that was a problem.
The Constitution does allow for what's the phrase tariffs and imposts or whatever, and if they were innately evil, why would they have been allowed in the Constitution?
Well, that's correct. In fact, they believed that a direct tax was immoral, so they would look at our progressive income tax and think that it was absolutely a confiscation of private property, and they did raise their revenues by using tariffs, imposts, and duties. Now, of course, they understood the proper role of the federal government and its limitations, and so they raised those revenues. With that alone, I would like to see our federal government reduce in size so that we can adopt the policies that our founders knew were sound and could help this nation become a productive and prosperous society.
Speaking with Sherilyn Eager, her website is eagerforsenate.com. A last question before the break, ma'am, just to round this out on the issue of free trade. So you believe it's important to protect America's manufacturing base, America's balance of trade, and America's jobs, and that blind free trade it doesn't necessarily do that.
I absolutely would agree with you on that, and I think it is it's absolutely the worst possible decision that this nation could have made years ago to enter into those agreements, NAFTA, GATT, and the WTO. Those other countries that we are competing with hate us. They hate our capitalist society. They hate our prosperity. They have constructed the world stage to actually, I believe, deliberately diminish our influence in the world. In fact, I would oppose any measures that would merge our nation with other nations and reduce our sovereignty and the supreme law of our land, which is the Constitution. And our senator right now is sitting in a leadership role on the Transatlantic Policy Committee, and he and his friends there have a plan to, by the year 2012, merge our market with Europe. And I have great concern about that.
When you just last thing, merge our market with Europe, how do you mean that, ma'am?
Well, you would create a common market, a common currency.
You're not saying that Bob Bennett wants a common currency with Europe?
Yes, that's what the Transatlantic Policy Network is attempting to achieve.
Very good.